Hi guys, welcome to Keeping It Real with Yogi. I'm Yogi and let's get real. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about religion, and I'm happy because today I have a special guest, one of my oldest and dearest friends, and we're going to talk about religion. Yay! So, Mr. KA, what are your thoughts on religion? Do you have any thoughts on religion or any feels for religion?
Um, that's a loaded question, actually, when it comes to religion. I have a lot of different thoughts about religion. I I think it's a control mechanism that is employed by a group of people to control masses and to bend them to some specific ideological perspective. But I mean, it's a very, very deep subject.
Mm-hmm. I think is a very deep subject too. When it comes to religion, the religion that I was mostly exposed to was Christianity. I was raised in the church from a very little girl. Was there all the time. As a teenager, I couldn't play. I mean, I played sports for a little bit, but it was mostly church, home, and school. Church, home, and school. We went to church Sunday morning, Sunday night. We had a Wednesday night service, Friday night service, and we went choir rehearsal on Saturday. So I spent the majority of my life in church. So I started asking questions. And so that's how I got away from religion. I started asking questions, and when you ask questions, you kind of get booted out of religion. They kind of put a black cloud on you because you're not allowed to ask questions. What do you think about that? Why do you think it is that you're looked down on when you ask questions inside of religion?
Well, to be honest, I also was brought up in the church, and most black people, melanin rich people in America, for the most part, embrace that Christian religion.
Mm-hmm.
And we are taught to behave a certain way in church, and asking questions. I think what that does is it puts the people who are responsible for shepherding the flock in a position where they have to provide tangible or legitimate answers.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're trying to manipulate people, you can't give them answers because the answers will perhaps lead to even more questions, which will lead to an awakening that what you're feeding them from the pulpit is nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the reasons why they always give you answers like, well, you got to have faith, or you got to trust in the Lord.
Yeah, faith. That's what they would tell me. You just got to believe. I was like, well, wait a minute. Why do I have to believe something that doesn't make sense? I'm asking questions, like, because I wanted to know. But it was like that's the devil of the church because I started asking questions. It was like, I just really wanted to know because, like, the question I had with how is God the Father and the Son at the same time, and why would he send half of himself to die for my sins, but I'm still going to hell? Like stuff like that. I thought it was a legitimate question. If you say he came and he died for me, why am I still gonna go to hell? Like, I didn't understand
Right.
that. Yeah.
Right. So, some of the fundamental tenets of Christianity, you have to forego reason and logic to embrace them because they go completely against rational thinking, rational thought. And if you're going to tell me that God is almighty, all powerful, yet God is giving you this nonsensical information to spew to the masses to convince them of something that is completely illogical, then you yourself are doing a disservice to God.
Mm.
And I think religion don't have a foot to stand on because the information that is being spewed from the pulpit is nonsense, right? And so they need you to forego reason and logic. They need you to believe
things become new. Right.
Right? There's a renewing of the mind, which means the old nature is no longer relevant anymore because it's been taken away from you. And the Bible itself even goes on to say in one of the books of, I think it's John, it says, he who is born of God does not sin, cannot sin, because the Spirit of God remains in him. So whenever you challenge the religious status quo against these kind of belief systems, especially those people who continue to live in sin, then they really have no foot to stand on.
Yes.
Because how do you justify your sin nature when the Bible specifically says if you're truly born of God, then you cannot sin? And so they're going to throw some nonsense when you really wasn't a believer or you don't have enough faith, and you really can't measure faith. And so a belief system is nothing but a lie that is being substituted for the truth. In the absence of empirical knowledge, a belief system will perhaps hold weight. But whenever you have knowledge, there's really no need for a belief system.
Right.
I know tomorrow that the sun will rise. Do I believe the sun will rise tomorrow? There's no need for me to believe it because I have tangible evidence that the sun will rise tomorrow. So that's a knowing. You see, so anytime somebody is telling you something that you have to believe, the chances are they're trying to lie to you or they don't have any tangible proof to give you that knowing. And the questions that you've been asking, the questions that you ask is necessary for somebody who is truly seeking truth, seeking for something higher than themselves. But these people know that whatever it is they're teaching you does not exist outside of you. It exists with you. That Christ and this God that all these people are trying to teach you, and Christ is coming back, and that Christ nature exists deep within every single one of us. And they're distracting us from the truth that is in us. Because even the Bible itself says, the kingdom of heaven does not come by observation. Jesus was speaking at the time, supposedly when that scripture was written. The kingdom of heaven does not come by observation. If somebody says it's over here, it's over yonder, it's in the desert, do not believe them. Why? Because the kingdom of heaven is within you. Rav Shaul, the Apostle Paul, also says, Rav Shaul and Rabbi Paul, he also says that, do you not know that you are the temple of the living God? So if you are the temple of the living God, it stands to reason that the God that you're seeking is already within you. So you don't need no preacher, no pastor with his bullshit in the cathedrals of commerce to tell you that you need to pay your tithes and all of that nonsense, or else you're going to burn in hell. That's crap.
Oh, I have a story about the tithe for you, K.A. Let me tell you, I was in church one day, and I was about to leave to go to work, because I had to leave early to go to work. And the pastor said that someone that he needed people to give $200. $200. You need to give $200. God was calling for you to give $200. You know how they asked for $200 for like 30 minutes? And so they was like, then they said, somebody right now God is speaking to, and he's telling you, the devil is telling you, don't do it because you got a light bill due. And I was thinking, oh man, this is me, because my light bill was due Tuesday, right? And they was like, God, that's the devil right now. You rebuke that devil. And I was like, I rebuke you, devil. You know what I'm saying? I took my $200 there. I was happy. I shouted. Although I was like, God finna do it for me, because I rebuked that devil and I bought my $200. So on Tuesday, when the lights went out, I was like, what happened? Because I had faith that he was going to do something, but he didn't do it. But my lights was cut out. And so I had to learn to quit listening to that type of stuff. Like, I mean, I had the faith they said I needed, but it was nothing. There was no return that was promised to me, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, they play on the fear and the ignorance. And ignorance don't mean that you're stupid or that anyone is stupid. It just means
without knowledge. Yeah.
Right. It's just about knowledge, right? And they prey on that. If you think about every single thing, right? You go to school as a child. You go to kindergarten, then you go first grade all the way to 12th grade. You graduate from 12th grade. Hell, you graduate from middle school. You graduate from junior high. You graduate from high school. And if you choose to go into higher education, you go to college and graduate. So at some point, you get to a point where you're mature enough where you do not need the stuff that is being taught in junior high, so you graduate. Then you move on to the next level. When you graduate. The only thing is Christians, the same nonsense that have been taught to me ever since I was a kid is the same thing that these preachers and pastors are teaching to these people 20, 30, 40, 50 years later. When do they graduate to the so-called meat of the word? Why are they still nursing on the preacher's nipples for the nonsense that is coming from these guys? Another thing, I think there are cathedrals of commerce. All they are is to make money. Because think about the Bible. It says you cannot find in the fish, go take it unto Caesar, because apparently Jesus had to pay his taxes. He also go on to say, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and give unto the Lord what is the Lord. So how can a preacher tell you that the Lord wants your money when money does not move God, because God didn't create money?
He can't use money.
He can't use money. So whenever you hear nonsense from the pulpit saying that you need to give a goodwill offering or whatever it is, it's all nonsense. And another thing to think about, if religion wasn't a tool that has been employed by the system of racism, white supremacy that runs this world, if religion was not a tool that was being employed, the billions of dollars that religion brings in every month is not being taxed. And you know how very stingy the IRS is about you not paying your tax. Somehow, they allow billions of dollars to go untaxed under the auspices of religion. Religion is a tool. The cathedrals of commerce, all they're interested in is separating you and me from our hard-earned money and keeping us distracted to the reality of what is. That the God that we seek already exists within us. You don't need salvation. Salvation is already within you. Right? Jesus has not died for your sin, my sin, or anybody else's sin for that matter. That's nonsense.
Right.
But
and you know what I get a lot too, because I'll tell people I'm not religious, or you know what I'm saying, I tell them, and then they'll think, oh, you're an atheist or you're a devil worshiper, and I'm like, no, I'm very spiritual. I just don't believe in a middleman. You know what I'm saying? I have the direct source or whatever. But what do you feel about that when people get shamed for being spiritual and not religious? Because I get that a lot. Like people really feel some kind of way about me not being religious anymore.
Well, they always say birds of a feather flock together. So, and misery likes company. And that religiousness, that religiosity of religion, or that man-made ideological perspective that is being sold as Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, or whatever the case might be, that's how people kind of compartmentalize others or box other people in. One of the things that happens with me, if I tell someone, just like you said, if I tell someone I'm not religious, or they ask the next question is, are you atheist? No, I'm not an atheist. So you must be agnostic. No, I'm not agnostic. So how come you're not religious, you're not atheist, you're not agnostic? See, they need to push you into a box, into a container, so they'll know, so they can better understand how to deal with you. If you say I'm a Christian, then they know what they can say in terms of conversation, things that you may or may not agree with them on. If you say you're agnostic, then they say, well, you don't believe in God, or you're atheist, or whatever the case might be. So whenever they try to compartmentalize you so they could arm themselves with whatever defense mechanism they need to engage you in conversation, in debate, or just general existence. So that's why I don't embrace anybody's perspective about religion. If you're spiritual, that's something that is between you and you, the essence of truth that exists deep within you, and it's nobody else's business what that essence of truth that exists within you is. It's only you and what moves you. That's it. And I think a lot of us spend a lot of time trying to endear ourselves to people by trying to embrace whatever it is we feel we need to embrace to be accepted by them. And the reality is I choose not to be accepted by anyone but myself. Once I accept me, then the people who vibrate on the level that I vibrate will accept me. And that's all that matters to me. Nothing else does in terms of religion. So I don't know if that answers your question about spirituality, but
it did, because I noticed once I started to leave religion behind and become more spiritual, of course, the religious people don't fool with me at all. That's even family members. They just don't. I'm just the devil and all that other stuff. But I have started to meet other people with different ideas and stuff, like out of the woodworks. They just started coming, and like you're like the first one. I just want to tell you thank you, because I don't know if you remember how religious I was, and you was trying to, open my mind to different possibilities, and I used to fight you tooth and nail. You know what I'm saying? But you never pushed anything on me. You gave me a window to use my brain for myself, and I will always appreciate that, because like I feel so free being away from religion. I really felt bound. I felt tied up. I was scared all the time. I was always scared that God was mad at me. It was going to get me for something, because you always slip up. There's always something that can be a quote unquote sin, because even the Bible say to obey the laws of the land. So if the speed limit is 55 and you doing 56, you have sinned. So I was always in fear in religion, you know what I'm saying? And there was like no way out. Whereas spirituality, I feel free to love me. I've never really loved myself in religion because I was a sinner. I was born in sin. I was born in the muck, in the mud, you know what I'm saying? But now that I have spirituality, I know that I am beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you for that, though. You know what I'm saying? Being patient and helping me see, what was really going on. But
the key for everything is for people to think for themselves.
Right.
At the end of the day, you don't have to believe what anybody else says. You don't have to embrace anybody else's doctrine. If somebody presents a point to you, just think for yourself and analyze it against its own merits. Don't measure it against something else, because that was my problem in the beginning. Whenever I talk to people about my religious experience in the past and how I went from being a very pious Christian, I was married for many years, faithful, all these wonderful things, but I was seeking after a closer walk with the Most High. And through sincere sticking, going into the closet in my prayer time and supplication, praying, crying, and asking for that because I didn't want to do anything to diminish what Christ, in my mind, has done already for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because one of the things that I understand about that when I made the confession of faith is that God sent His only begotten Son to die on the cross for me. And that substitutionary death of Christ on the cross absolved me of all the sin, because I was born in sin. I had a sin nature, supposedly. And so because Christ, His propitiation between me and God, He bridged the gap between me and God because of the separation of sin. So I didn't want to do anything to negate that. So I needed to know, what can I do to show my appreciation every single day for this wonderful gift. So I would go into the silence and I would pray and I would ask questions. And other Christians would tell me, you got to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. It's a personal situation with God. But the closer and closer I got to this so-called Christ, the further and further from religion I was led, especially Christianity. And initially, I didn't accept it because it went completely against the biblical doctrine that I was taught up to that point. So I was like, well, this can't be of God, because if it was, T.D. Jakes would be teaching his congregation. Creflo Dollar, all these big men who have thousands of people following them, if this is truly of God, these men would be teaching it to the congregation, because in me, I felt that this information is liberating.
Mm-hmm.
But then, because it didn't measure with the foundational Christian belief that I had at the time, I disconnected from it and continue again. But I would continue to pray, and more information would come to me. And then eventually one day, in the quiet, Simon says, listen, you're asking for this information and you're getting it, but you're measuring it against an ideological belief system that is wanting, to say the least. Suspend that belief system for a moment and analyze the new information in the light of its own weight and its own merit. And if you find it still wanting, then pick up your belief system. It's that simple. So that's exactly what I did. I said, you know what? I'm not going to measure this against biblical theology. I'm going to measure this against its own merit and analyze it against its own information. And that's when I started waking up. I started realizing that there's a lot of mistranslation and misinterpretation from the scriptures. And then I did some further studies. I studied the church fathers, Clement of Alexandria, Eusebius, Tertullian, some of the full founders of Christianity, the foundational men who established the faith that most Christians have no idea about. These men, I studied these men, and I realized that this religious perspective that I was trying to embrace was designed to enslave me rather than liberate me. And so slowly but surely, I started weaning myself more and more away from it. And of course, I had young kids at the time, and I couldn't just pull them away from church. So these were things that I had conversation with my ex-wife and the kids about. And over time, eventually, we disconnected from Christianity. And the day, I can't tell you how liberating and free I felt. But that was my process. I'm not saying everybody else has to go through the same process. That was my process, to sincerely seeking after truth.
Right.
with an open heart, not judging it with anybody else's perspective, but just open heart. And eventually it came, and I was like, wow. Okay, so now I'm in a much better place than I am. I'm not a heathen. I'm not the devil. I take responsibility for my actions.
Right.
I know who God is. In fact, when I tell people after disconnected from Christianity, the relationship that I had with the Most High and the Creator became even more intimate than when I was a Christian, because now I understand that the God that I was seeking was not outside of me. It was in me already. So, I don't know, maybe I kind of got off on a tangent there, but
nope.
Yeah.
I love talking to you. But anyway, we're about to wind this one up. I'm hoping that you can come 2-3 more times and we can talk a little bit more, because you just have a lot of information and I would love to be able to share it with my viewers.
Yeah, no doubt. This is definitely the surface. I mean, this is barely scratching the surface about...
Barely.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll definitely come back if you'll have me.
I will definitely do that. Well, anyway, guys, that was my segment for this time. I want to really thank K.A. for coming through. He promised to come back, so y'all going to hold him to it. And this was Keeping It Real with Yogi, and thanks for keeping it real.